Hi guys, uh, I'm Ivan Donko, Senior Consultant at CRM Asset Consulting. We are specialized in Microsoft technologies, Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, and so on. So this is the fourth video on a series of more than 20 I will post. And remember, on the first one, I showed you how to create a custom connector from scratch for Zoom. And in the second video, we have used this custom connector to create a Zoom meeting directly from Dynamics 365. And in the next video, we have used that custom connector to get registrants to a Zoom meeting. In this video, we will see how to retrieve participant, participant to a Zoom meeting. So it is quite simple. First of all, let me show you how it works, and then I will explain you how I have created that custom connector. So this is the Dynamics 365 environment. Let us select this Zoom event. Okay, so this is my Zoom event. I have some registrant. This is the registrant list, and I also need to retrieve participants. Okay, because when you create a Zoom meeting, you can send a link to those who want to register, and when the Zoom meeting, when you organize the Zoom meeting, somebody will participate. Okay, so now I want to retrieve participants to the Zoom meeting. So that is what we are going to do. Okay, so now I click here, I select flow, get participant. Okay, get participant list. I will run this flow, and my custom connector will connect to Zoom and retrieve all the participants and put it back here. Okay, so I just click on run flow, done. Then I can refresh. Okay, so you see these are the 3 participants to my Zoom meeting. So it works well, as you can see. Now let us move to the flow to see how it has been done. So the trigger is when a record is selected. Environment default table name events. Okay, so as I told you in the previous video, you should not rename this trigger. It can bring issues. So next, get participant list. I use this action of my custom connector, and I provide the meeting ID because according to the API, the Zoom API, I should pass the meeting ID in order to get participants to a Zoom meeting. So next action is I just initialize a body, an object variable, and I pass the body retrieved. So from here, this is an array because in this body I have an array content in that body. That array, in that array I have all participants as a form of object, so an array of objects. So I just retrieve that array of object in this variable because I will need it. So from here I just initialize another array variable I will use. Same thing, this is another array variable, and this is just to initialize some variables I need in my. Okay, now I need to pass, okay, var to store participant array. Var to store participant array. Okay, so I retrieve the participant array and I need to pass it. So as I told you in the previous video, to generate the schema, you can just execute the flow. And as I told you, when you want to create a flow using that trigger, while creating the flow, you can replace this trigger. You can start using manually trigger a flow in order to proceed to the testing, because when you use this one, it's a little bit complicated to test easily. So when you execute the flow, you will be able to get sample data, okay, from this. You just copy the array and you click on generate from schema. You passed the sample data and Power Automate will generate the schema. Okay, I'm not obliged to leave this repeated, so you can remove it if you want. It's up to you, depending on what you want to achieve. So now select name and email from the previous operation, because in order to select, I first need to pass. Okay, I first need to pass. Now this is the body from the previous action. Okay, so this is the body. Now I have to map. Okay, name, I just retrieve item name. Okay, item is the current element. Okay, because this is an array of object, so item is the current object. So I retrieve the name. Okay, the email, if equal item user email string null null item user. So from here I'm just testing if it is string null in quote. I just want to transform it to null without quote. So that is the purpose of this. Now this is just the compose of the previous operation. Okay, now I set my variable initialized above, so it is the union of this compose, the union of the compose, because I want to remove any duplicate record, okay, from this array. And to do it easily, you can just use the union function and you pass the variable 2 times, because the function take 2 parameters. So you pass the same set, and if there is any duplicate record, it will remove. So this is the purpose of this step. So now I just compose my variable. Now list row from Zoom meeting participant. Look, because you can have several users and it's up to them. They can run the flow on demand anytime they want. And to avoid recording duplicate, okay, I need to retrieve the content of this table, okay, or this entity, in order to pass it and to identify which records are already in this table, so that if I rerun this flow, okay, I will need to compare the data I want to store. I have to check if these data are not yet recorded. So I have to compare the content before to store new records to avoid duplicates. That is why I need to retrieve, okay, Zoom meeting participant. I pass it because I want to select, okay. And as I told you in the previous video, when you map, you should use the same key, okay, in order to use the filter data operation easily. Okay, so this is the output of the previous operation. I put it in this variable. Now I just compose, select name, so it's just to compose this. Okay, so union variable, remove duplicate variable, host data. So this is the union. I just make the union of these two variables. Now this is the filter, var to remove duplicate. Okay, so I have a content of participant retrieve from Zoom, that array. Okay, now before I need to filter it in order to keep just new items not yet recorded here. Okay, and I will just use this item in my apply to each, because as I told you in the previous video, okay, never enter into a loop and make some testing, and so it is time consuming. The purpose is to avoid, if you are able to avoid any loop in your flow, avoid it. And if you should use it, make sure that you filter your items in order to enter in the loop with just the items you are supposed to insert. Okay, so I have filtered it, and I know that this body contains only the items to be inserted. So this is the body, filter array, so the body retrieve from here, and I just add a new row. I pass the name. Okay, so this is item name. Okay, the system has just renamed it. So email, I just pass item email. So item is the current item I'm looping on. So as I told you, I promise you that in this video I will show you how to reference a lookup in a flow. Okay, so this is the GUID, just to generate the ID of the record. You can use this function. So now, last thing to show you is how to reference a lookup. Okay, so let me see from here. Okay, so this is the query, because I need, the challenge is to be able to get this name. Okay, because you pass the unique ID of the event, okay, the unique identifier of the event as parameter to this function. Now, how to retrieve this name? That is the challenge. Okay, so to retrieve it is easy. You can just pass this link. Okay, you pass this. You pass the, you need to retrieve this logical name of the entity, and what you need to retrieve is the entity set name. So you pass the logical name, and you want to retrieve the entity set name. Okay, so from here, this is the event table, and this is the logical name. MSNFP event. Okay, so I pass that logical name, and when I run, I will get the entity set name. Okay, so this is the entity set name. Okay, so that is fine. And when you put it like this, you pass as parameter the unique identifier of event. Because when I insert a Zoom meeting participant, I want to link the event to this record. Otherwise, I'm not be able to easily filter according to event, because this is my event. I will store all participants in a unique table, but when I display record, I want to display it according to events. That is why I'm obliged to link it to make that lookup. Okay, to make that lookup. So this is simply how this flow has been done. And in the next video, the flow will be simple, because we'll try to retrieve those who are registrant and participants. So because you may want to know that these are those who are registered to the Zoom meeting, and these are the ones who have participated in the meeting. So now I just need to query the system on the basis of these two tables in order to know those who are here according to email and here also. So it's a simple flow. We will go through it in the next video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.